Thank you, Mark, for making me feel old. How many people here remember the bicentennial? Okay, I don't feel so old. Yeah, 4.
How many of us remember the centennial?
Hands across America. I was thinking about what I was going to say to introduce this next young man to you today, but I realized that if I was going to try to list all of his accomplishments and experience, I would end up talking about him longer than he would be talking. So I'm just going to touch on a few things about him, and after he's through speaking here, you should all feel free to ask him for details. This man has served his country since what I consider a young age. After spending the better part of a decade in the Army, he moved on to the Air National Guard, is that right? Where he is currently a major. In his military capacity, he showed himself to be a leader, though the amount of time that we have here wouldn't allow me to list all that he did there. I'm sure he'd be happy to detail it, maybe, for anyone who's interested. Currently, he's the first officer for Kalita Air, piloting a Boeing 747-400, one of the largest aircraft in the world. He flies all around the world moving cargo to and from places like India, Russia, Germany, Anchorage, and New York City. He has first-hand experience as a small business owner and entrepreneur. He runs a rental management agency, home inspection, and handyman service since 2009. He cares for a 139-acre farm in Pittsfield where he sponsors a local farmer with a small fruit farm and organic vegetable business. He is also one of the 24 Maine delegates to the National Convention. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce to you Sam Canders, Republican Party for District 15 in Bangor.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone that participated not only in the parade today, but also this event. This is a difficult process for me simply because it's hard. I hate hearing things about myself. I hate talking about myself, but it's a necessary evil for sure. But thanks for everyone that's here, especially my sweet mother. She's over there in the red shirt. She was just making faces at me and trying to make fun of me, trying to mess me up, so I figured I'll embarrass her by pointing her out to the crowd. So, this has been a really interesting process for me as far as how I've become involved, but I see it as a necessity. You can stand for something, because if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. And right now, there's a lot of people that complain about all the issues and the problems that we have in our country, our state, our local communities, but they don't do anything about it. It just happens, and then when something happens, they just complain more and more about it. Well, I'm tired of the some things that are happening, and I'm making my stand. And it's nice to see that I don't stand alone. There's a lot of people that feel the same way, and eventually our voices will be heard. And it's just simple. It's time to get back to the basics. It's right there in the Constitution, everything that we need. The 10th Amendment, we need to have a stronger state government where we have a lot more say in what's happening in our lives. There's more accountability to our elected officials at this level, and we need a smaller federal government, and that's extremely important to me. Fiscal responsibility is very important as well. I'm concerned about not just the size of our federal debt, but debt in general. This is something that's going to absolutely devastate our country. And some people realize it, they see the writing on the wall, and then there's other people that are like me that want to do something about it. So I ask each and every one of you that's here, please maintain involvement in your local communities, your state community, and also at the federal level. Do anything you can. I just want to give a shout out real quick to Pauline Civiello. She's sitting over here. This is a fine example of a citizen who is taking initiative to make change. And never underestimate the power of an individual, because an individual can do an amazing thing, not just for their community, but for their country. So Pauline, she started an initiative here in Bangor. Bangor is one of the only large city in Maine that doesn't have basically a charter that limits spending. It's actually our only limit to the spending here in Bangor is a state referendum, which is 15% of the total property value, which allows city councilors a huge open-ended credit card. And we all know how credit card can be a destructive factor in any family household. And as far as the Bangor family, that's something that she's addressing. She's taking an aggressive stance on that, and she wants to control spending. because it's nice to have nice shiny toys and great things, but somebody has to pay for it. And right now, it's the taxpayer, and that's a burden not only onto the current taxpayers, but future taxpayers as well. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. And there's one final statement here I'll make, and I usually don't write things down because I'll just mess it up when I speak. So I usually just wing it. But anyway, this is important, so I'll say this. It is Independence Day today, and I hope you all took the opportunity. I spent last night reading through the Declaration of Independence once again. And I'm not a politician. I'd like to consider myself an aspiring statesman. And part of that process, I am a student. I'm educating myself as much as I can. And I ask each and every one of you not to only educate yourselves, but educate the people that you are with, that you're surrounded, your family, your loved ones, about the issues, about the Constitution, about our state Constitution. Because you have to remain active. You absolutely have to. Because if you don't, things definitely don't go our way. So with that, I'll just say this. Citizens of Bangor, of Maine, and the United States of America, as we stand here today on our nation's 236th birthday, ask yourselves, would you mutually pledge to each other your lives, your fortunes, and your sacred honor, not for the creation of a republic, but for its preservation? And I say, not only would I, but I will. And that's just, if you read the Declaration of Independence, you'll see that written in there, and that really holds truth even today. What are you going to stand for? Are you going to stand for something, or are you going to stand for nothing? So I'm taking a stand, and I appreciate all your support.